Don't you understand how many children and teens suffer from depression?
Do you know how negative peer pressure is? It can make you go into drugs.
Peer pressure is an invisible but powerful force acting upon us.
Peer pressure is real and it is ruining lives.
Choosing a right for a career path can be a serious trouble.
If parents have the experience, children have the next generation's vision.
So today's debate topic is homework should be optional, and Mother Teresa is going to be proposing and Marie Curie will be opposing. So to start with, I'd like to call Aruha up on stage from the proposer side. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, the judges, my fellow opposers, and the crowd at large. You all know me. I'm Aruha from Mother Teresa House, here to strongly propose the motion that states homework should be optional. But before I start this off, we should know what the meaning of optional is and where is it derived from. So, optional is derived from the word option. And what is option? Option is the ability to choose something over another alternative. More like an opportunity cost in business. With me here is a case study from a researcher from Stanford. He says that students spend too much time on homework, and this has negative effects on them. It causes them stress, it causes them physical health problems like headaches, exhaustion, sleep deprivation. And the results were as follows. 56%, you heard it right, 56% of the students claim that homework is the prime source of stress. Prime source, that's the key word, prime source. How does this stress develop? We know that we have a lot of homework on our pile. We have piles and piles of homework. And now we don't know when are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? And the fact that it's frustrating that we are not given the opportunity to make our own schedule. And the fact that now we are replacing our crucial life skills, like spending time with our parents and having our own break time. Instead, we replace it with what? Homework. How does that work? Homework. Why are we prioritizing homework first instead of our own well-being? Why are we doing that? We are supposed to first put ourselves first, our fitness, because at the end of the day, who's the one doing the homework? Us, aren't we? Another result that was found was that many students said that homework load leads to them having sleep deprivation and other health problems like headaches and exhaustion. The fact that you have loads and loads of homework and your time is running, and I say running, and you can't grasp it. And because of that, students tend to go and do their homework till night, till 1 a.m. And we have seen this in our very own school. I go to class every morning, and the first thing I see is a student sitting on their desk and sleeping. I go and ask them, why are you sleeping? When you did you not have enough sleep? Why? They say it's because they had a lot of homework. They had to write so much notes. Sleep is important for us because if we don't sleep, how are we going to focus on our studies for the next day? The last result that was found was that a student uses 60 hours a week. 60 hours a week. That's around 2.5 hours a day, depending on the workload. Now, if we were to reduce this homework, if we were to reduce this, it will automatically reduce the stress levels. It will automatically reduce the focus. They would start focusing more. They would get enough sleep, and the next day you would see them more productive. You would see them actually more productive. And this is why my teammates and I strongly propose the motion that states homework should be optional. Thank you. Okay, so the first speaker from the opposite side is Akshita. Let's give her a round of applause.
It has rightly been said, practice makes perfect. Nothing is possible without firm determination. I, Akshita Monga, am from Marikuri House, here to oppose the motion, homework should be optional. Homework, homework, homework. What is homework? Homework is the time students spend outside the class in assigned activities to practice or reinforce what they learned in class. What is optional? Optional is something you can have a choice to do or not do. As students, we can all recognize the amount of homework we get can occasionally feel like a lot. Homework, let's be real. Homework assists to reinforce and expand our knowledge on concepts and materials we study in class. Homework is an essential part of the learning procedure. It enhances our critical thinking and problem-solving skills. The adversaries of our position may contend that tasks are essentially a regular errand that expand an excessive amount of free energy. But let's be honest, not all assignments are energizing and captivating. Likewise, clearly, all assignments have an objective. And it may be to be doing anything, learning for an upcoming test or ventures. Reality is that learning requires commitment. Homework can be a great instrument for pupils to revive and can revive the essential aptitudes required for achievement. It is imperative to energize an understanding in students. Homework is a great opportunity to expand our knowledge. With enough dedication and perseverance, we can strive towards excellence. Let's make sure to thank ourselves for the hard work we put in. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon, judges, opponents, and of course, the audience. Homework, homework, homework. Doesn't that just show homework's intensity? First and foremost, I'd like to touch on the mental effect homework may have on us. An average student can get about 2 to 2.5 hours of homework each day. And considering the 7-hour school period they had just before, a student will be tired, and there is no doubt about that. A teenager is expected to have a balance between a school life, a social life, have an extra hobby, get all 8 hours of sleep, and spare at least 30 minutes for eating. This is considering the home environment is suitable. Sometimes it's not. Let me show you what I mean. What if the homework is too hard? Who are you going to ask? Your friends? That's unethical. Are you going to ask Google? That's unethical, and they might not show you the results that you want to see. What if your family members are so many? You have 2, 3 siblings, a dog. They'll be barking, they'll be interfering. That will be a problem. Concentration. You won't be able to concentrate. After all is done, there simply is no time. Let me paint you a picture. You go home at 3:30, let's say 4, and you change into your home clothes and you take a 10-minute break. You do your homework for 2 hours. We can safely say that the time is between 6 and 6:30. After that, you deserve at least a 30-minute break. It's now 7 o'clock. There's nothing else you can do. Exercise is out of options, and your hobby is also out of options. Dinner will be served in a few minutes, and your fatigue will kick in. You can see what I'm hinting at. This point can be further strengthened if you get more homework. Like I said, you get about 2 to 2.5 hours approximately. What if you get 3? What if you get more than that? You'll have to replace it with your sleep schedule. That will severely affect you the next day. How many of you take homework lightly? I'm willing to bet most of you do it seriously in the hopes that you can complete it before the deadline. Personally, I do that too. And I bet most of you do that too. I prefer if some deadlines could be extended or cancelled for that matter. All this can be very overwhelming if it piles up. To double down on what one of my teammates, Aruha, said, a study was carried out on a bunch of students and they were asked what was their most stressful thing, what was their primary source of stress. 56% of them said homework was the primary source. 1% of them said that homework wasn't. Less than 1% of them said homework wasn't a primary source of stress. Moving on, let's talk about social capacity. You have a laptop, open it, go to Google and go to the school website. Click on the Our Story headline and you'll get the core values of the school. Let's take 2 examples, empowerment and adaptability. What's empowerment? It is the authority or power you give to someone to do something. Something like making your own decision. Something like doing your own homework. And that's empowerment. The school believes in it. If someone wants to help themselves and do their own homework, they will do it. If they do not want to do it, that's their decision. The second value I mentioned was adaptability. What's that? It is the quality of being able to adjust to new things or just trying new things in general. The school believes in adaptability. I believe in adaptability. So if the school believes in it, why can't they bring new practices like making homework optional? This is why me and my team believe that homework should be optional, and you should too. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, and my dear opponents and the audience, of course. I, Abhisujit from Manikiri House, is here to oppose the motion that homework should be made optional. First of all, I would like to start off by refuting my opponent's point. They keep on emphasizing on mental stress and everything. So my opponents mentioned a lot about mental health. So why not abolish it and not keep it optional? Because by keeping it optional, we are making inequalities between the people who will do and not do. Now, moving on to my points. The thought of homework being made optional may sound like a dream come true, but let's examine the reality. As a student who values educational experience and wants to see the future generation succeed, I believe that eliminating the homework would do more harm than good. On to my points. Homework teaches responsibility. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation where you have been given a task, but you didn't want to do it, but you actually ended up doing it? That is called responsibility, and it's a very crucial skill you need to succeed in life. By making homework optional, we are sending the message to students that if they want to do something, that's the only time they should do. But instead, whenever we want to achieve something, we should be able to buckle ourselves down, sit down and work hard for it. Studies have shown that students who complete homework regularly are much more likely to succeed in academics rather than the ones who don't. By removing this important component of our learning process, we are doing our students a disservice and potentially hindering their future success. There's a time I didn't do my homework. My teacher could have easily let it slide and told me that it's fine, but she didn't. She held me responsible and accountable for not doing the work and told me to stay outside of class until I finished it. At the time, it felt so useless, but I later went on to understand that it taught me the importance of responsibility and how to manage my time better. Next point. Homework reinforces learning. The whole point of school is to learn, right? Well, how do we learn? By practicing and reinforcing the concepts that were taught in class. And homework is one of the most valuable things you can do to reinforce what you've been taught in class. By making homework optional, we are essentially saying that the extra practice isn't necessary, when in fact it is one of the most vital things you need for a student's success. Have you ever experienced a situation where you fully didn't understand a concept until you did a homework assignment that was related to the subject? If so, how do you think homework being optional would impact the student's ability to grasp and retain new information? Although my opponents may disagree with that because they are proposing the motion, deep down we all know the truth. Furthermore, my opponents continue to talk about reducing stress, how stress levels are being increased. Some students may actually feel more stressed and anxious due to the lack of structure and guidance that are being provided by homework. In fact, making it optional could even add to the students' stress levels by creating uncertainty and stress levels increasing because of the confusion around what is required of them. Still, if homework creates so much stress for you, abolish it, not make it optional. In conclusion, while the idea of making homework optional may seem appealing, but it would ultimately do more harm than good. By removing this crucial aspect of the educational experience, we would be robbing ourselves of valuable opportunities to learn, grow, and succeed. Thank you.
From Mother Teresa, I'd like to call Muzna up on stage.
Firstly, before I start, our dear opposers were talking about eliminating and abolishing homework. Optional means the ability to choose something. We're not saying that homework should be abolished or eliminated. We're just saying it should be made to fit into your schedules. You should be given the ability to choose whether to do it or not to do it. So what if homework was optional? Would it be good or would it be bad? But I'm here to convince you that it would be good. Imagine the teacher gives you work and tells you you have the option of doing it and not doing it, and you choose to do it. How will that make you feel? Responsible, right? Why? Because you yourself have chosen to do it. You haven't been forced, you haven't been threatened, you haven't been told that your parents will be called if you don't do it. This helps create a sense of accountability, reliability, and responsibility. I know those are all some big words to comprehend, but they simply mean that you know what you're doing and you're in control over it. When we do homework, we aren't doing it because we want to, we're doing it because we're forced to. And while doing something you're forced to, you won't do it with your full capability, you'll do it just to finish it or to get done with it. And how does that really help a student? It doesn't. But what if you change the scenario? What if you give students the option to actually choose to do the homework? So they don't feel forced while doing it. We're teenagers, we don't like being told to do, but if we ourselves come up with the motive to do something, we'll do it with our full commitment. Do you know how much is expected from a single student? We're expected to wake up at 6 a.m., reach school by 7:30, start classes at 8, leave school at 3, reach home by 3:30, study to get good grades, socialize, make friends, help out around the house, spend time with family, and as if the 7 hours in school weren't enough, an additional 2 to 3 hours of homework. It's too much. Many studies even say that unfinished homework can lead, there are many cases where unfinished homework has led to children committing suicide. And do we really want that to happen? No, there actually is a case like that where 2 students committed homework because of the frustration that's unfinished homework. Wouldn't it be easier if our workload was just reduced by making homework optional? Thank you.
Good afternoon, school. First of all, I would like to refute some baseless, lame research that my good opponent has just made. First of all, when you talk about stress shouldn't be a reason for you to give up homework. Because, for example, your parents obviously have stress at work. So would you give them advice of quitting work because of stress? John Maxwell, an American author, once said, "It is easier to move from failure to success than from excuses to success." Which is a quote I feel much needed by my worthy opponents, because you can either come up here and make cheap excuses as to why homework is not helpful, or you can either sit there and let me and my team enlighten you as to why homework is in fact playing a crucial role in children's everyday life. A study done at Duke University by psychology professor Harris Cooper states that there was in fact a positive correlation between homework and the students' achievements. He found out that homework can help students perform better at school. Across 5 studies, the average student who did homework had a higher unit test score than students not doing homework. So to say that homework should be optional is absolute shenanigans, because you'd be depriving some students a chance to develop the academic knowledge at home. My dear judges and my wonderful audience, another desperate fact you may hear or may have heard from our esteemed opponents is that homework denies students a chance to have their free time or enjoy themselves, which is ridiculous in my opinion, because homework brings up upon something called time management. Students should be able to balance out between academics and free time. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying homework is the only way to do it, but it is a stepping stone in nurturing young children the ability to manage their time effectively, which will help them later on their careers, on the day-to-day adults' lives, or on the at college probably. Moving on. Neurologists across the world have found out that that students only remember 5% of things taught at school from a lecture, and 75% of information will only be remembered after being practiced. And how convenient does homework come in here, because it enables students to go home after a 7-hour long day at school and remember 75% of information simply by doing homework. So if you go with what me and my team are saying, you will gain by recalling 75% of information, while if you follow our opposition, you will only go home with 5% of information. Not bad? Not bad. My dear students, I do admit that homework may be stressful at times, but life is not all about rainbows and unicorns. Another American author named Shannon Alden said, "Life always begins with one step outside your comfort zone. It will be hard, yes, but it will pay tomorrow after you make those difficult choices and sacrifices today." Esteemed judges and my fellow students, as I conclude, calls for homework to be banned or optional far outweigh those extolling its merits, something undoubtedly shaped by the negative experiences my opposition might have faced at school. Homework is an invaluable preparatory tool which teaches discipline, and if assigned correctly, one that can make students enjoy and love the subjects, if enjoying the subjects to increase and detailed exposure to it. So I urge all of you to make the right choice and make homework mandatory for all students for their own benefit. Thank you.
Before I begin, my dear wonderful opponents, who talked about quitting? We believe that homework is important, which is why we wanted to have a positive impact on students. Making it compulsory does not have a positive impact on students. Our dear opponent just said that we have 7 hours of school. We come back from 7 hours of school with 5% of information. Who in their right mind would sit down immediately after they show up in school and try cram 75% of work put in homework? Just tell me, who would? No one. Good afternoon, our dear judges on the panel, teachers in the crowd, and the crowd at large. I am here as the fourth speaker of the proposing side to further push across the motion that homework indeed should be optional for us students. To my first point, it prepares you for life. Initiative. What, my dear audience, what do you think initiative is? Initiative is basically the ability to tell yourself what to do next and to sit down and do it without being told. The key word, my dear audience and opponents, is by doing it by yourself, without being told. What do you think compulsory homework is doing? Compulsory homework is basically making our teachers forcing homework on us, not us ourselves, forcing homework on us and then expecting us to give back the homework tomorrow. If students proceed with compulsory homework, they will likely fail to realize tasks are needed to be done, not because of approval, but due to the risk of failure lying around the corner. College professors, when you go to college professors don't ask you, did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? No, they won't. They will ask you, they will give you a final. The final is not at all based at whether you did homework or not. So us as high school students, we need to realize that we are required to dedicate a certain amount of study time, a certain amount of energy. And this leads me to my second point, time management. Making homework optional allows students to better their time management skills. Considering what one of my proposers said, we spend a whole lot of time on homework. All of us students, we all balance 10 to 11 subjects. But we are balancing 10 to 11 subjects, including an additional sport and learning, let's say, a new instrument. Then how, my friends? We have 24 hours a day. Half of this time we spend in school, the other half we spend sleeping. Where are we supposed to slot in this crucial information? On to my third point, responsibility. My opponents did say that homework, it gives you an element of responsibility. But no, homework makes you responsible in one field. Haven't you ever heard of the high schoolers paradox? The high achievers paradox. This basically means that all the high achievers, once looked at, they spent mostly all of their time on homework. Now, do colleges when you go for your college application, will they ask you, oh, how much homework did you do? When you go for your job application, will they ask you, oh, how much homework did you do during the time you were in school? No, they won't. They'll ask you what else you do. Because colleges, because universities, because jobs, they do not need A students. Book smart students are bland. They cannot think outside the box. Only people who are street smart, people who know how to think outside the box are chosen. So being an A student is just another thing. Everyone's an A student these days. What else do you need to do? You need to learn, let's say you want to learn how to code. You need to know how to code. You need to know, let's say, an active participant in football, hockey, one of these extracurricular games. You're either a leader in school. What time do you have to be a leader when you're too busy droning over compulsory homework given to us by teachers? Tell me, my dear opponents. With that, I hope you, my dear audience, my opponents, and the judges have heard me out and will all agree after I leave that homework is indeed or should indeed be made optional. Thank you.
I would like to start off by refuting some of my opponent's points. Not some, let's say all. To start with, one of my opponents said that she finds her classmates sitting on their desk. It looks like they're too stressed, man. Let's abolish homework. Another one is saying that thank God all students are committing to homework. Did you mean committing suicide or committing to homework? It looks like my opponents are fumbling in English. The best advice I can give you is do your English homework. One of my fellow opponents said she cannot manage her time. Do not generalize it. If you have problem managing your time, doesn't mean that I cannot manage it. Another student talks about her school believes in optionality. Which school are you in? My school believes in adaptability. In fact, it is one of its core values, and homework is a compulsory in this top-notch institution. One of my opponents has made a false study and talks about a study carried out showing 90% of students were stressed. Really? That is completely false. Oxford University shows that the main cause of stress and depression was family problems. Lastly, I would talk about one of my opponents talking about half of the day is spent in school and half of the day is spent in sleeping. Well, you need 8 hours for adequate sleep and we spend 7 hours in school. Your math isn't mathing. You still have extra 9 hours. we still have extra 9 hours. So for you, I recommend math homework. On to my points, ladies and gentlemen. Usain Bolt practiced 8 hours a day, every day until he became the fastest sprinter on earth. This proves anything done regularly on a daily basis always reaps a fruitful result. I, Adesh Dwivedi, ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what results does homework reap? Homework motivates the student as it prevents procrastination and time waste. A study conducted by the Cambridge University showed that 80% of the students who did not do their homework got lower grades than people who actually made the effort to regularly complete their homework. This scientific data shows that homework leaves the students with no excuse but to review the information taught in form of question. This practice helps to cement the information in the students' minds. Not only that, it also helps students to clear any doubts in areas where they were not able to succeed. This gives students who finished their homework an upper hand against students who did not do their homework. These students were more likely to forget what was taught in class. Many would argue that, what if the time used for homework was used for self-studies? Well, if self-studies was so powerful, then why would we all come to school? We could just be sitting at home. We could have just paid for IGCSE exam and done self-studies at home. Furthermore, homework not only improves your grades, it also leads to greater work ethics and discipline. This is inspired by a very famous quote written by the one and only Adesh Dwivedi. The same people who did not do their homework are still doing that to this very day in the real world, which in other words means that people who did not take their homework seriously in most cases do not take their tasks and assignments seriously. A study conducted by the New York University showed that 63% of people who did not take their homework seriously failed to accomplish job assignments after working hours. Moreover, doing homework on a regular basis challenges your memory, critical thinking, and understanding of the concept. All these help to consolidate information learnt in class and create a code of remembrance, which causes the student to not only understand it, but also to remember it. To sum it all up, homework has been there since the dawn of time. And if homework didn't exist in the first place, would students be able to question themselves? Would students be able to grasp the important concepts? Homework plays a major role in education and nurturing of the next generation, as it leads to better grades, better work ethics, and greater time management. Thank you.
Giving adolescents an option in situations will lead to better personality development rather than forcing your decisions upon them. These are wise words of Dr. Netta Winston. Good afternoon, my respected judges, my talented opponents, and of course, my fellow students. I, Nimra Heather of Mother Teresa House, will today conclude the proposal of the motion, homework should be optional. I would like to refer to my teammates and their points on motivation. Most of the times you're motivated to do your homework. Why? Because you fear consequences. You do not want to be punished. But can we really not deny the fact that our school has amplified consequences over time? From being sent out of class to even receiving warning letters on incomplete homework. Not to mention that when you send out of class, you're missing so much that is done during those 40 minutes. And again, 56% of the students are stressed out by the homework. And again, I would like to mention that what about self-motivation? Or what about the respect for authority you will develop when you are being given an option? Because statistically speaking, at least 70% of the things we do in our daily life right here in high school will become personality traits in the future. So why are we not being given an opportunity to plan out our daily schedules from here in school? Because schools are not only educational institutions, they're also social institutions. They are going to teach you about how you're going to live your life once you leave over here. So when are we going to start abandoning this culture of the adrenaline of deadlines? Or the fact that we are aspiring adults and the next generation. So why can't we begin to plan out our lives with small things as when you're going to fit homework into your schedule? Not abolishing homework from your life, but the fact that it should have a productive impact on your mind. Absorbing information so you don't forget it 2 days later. Homework that will be piled up with several subjects. It's not like we get homework for one subject only. But what about the several other subjects? Human brains cannot absorb all of that information so fast, and it will be forgotten. As much as I respect our opponent's arguments, we cannot forget the fact that this world is changing very fast. And the fact that our school practices adaptability. That being said, we need to also embrace change. We need to realize that there are better alternatives. Again, we need to realize that there are better options. And this is why I strongly believe that homework should be optional. Thank you.
Well, our school gives us letters for not finishing homework. Hope they don't give us letters for having stress. That's the point these guys are repeating. Albert Einstein once said, you cannot stereotype people and put them into different boxes when it's unfair to the others. Good afternoon, honorable adjudicators, formidable opponents, and my peers of Ayurvedic Academy. I, Pala Saraya from Marie Curie House, would like to call in question with the motion, homework should be optional. How many times should we sing the same song of educational equality? And we have to sing it again because our opponents affirm that homework should be made optional. As my colleagues discussed, homework gives you motivation. It gives you the strive to work harder, and additionally, it also improves your grades. Our opponents would say that homework, who will ask you how much homework will you do? But jobs will ask, how can you manage your tasks, and how well can you finish those tasks? Did you know homework was actually abolished in the North Asia during the 1950s? But in 1957, when Russia launched the Sputnik, the society realized that the students were actually left behind in terms of technology, and they were stuck in a mental space where they would not proceed anywhere. They had doubts, they had questions on what to do further. Homework serves a purpose that penetrates more than general understanding, and I'd like to classify the wider purpose of homework discussed by my peers earlier into 7 P's, and those are practice, participation, preparation, personal development, parent-child relations, pupil-teacher relations, and peer interactions. If the homework is optional, it will limit all the students from witnessing all of these benefits. As children and students, all of us, we have a developing mind. And with developing minds, we would have questions in our mind, and we would not do homework just because of laziness and because we would not be committed towards it. Lack of interest may be such a factor. Certainly, as a person of an institution or as a teacher, don't you feel bad for the people who are missing out on such? Don't you feel bad for the people who are missing out on the opportunities of the benefits of the homework? I believe most of you have heard this quote by Bill Gates. I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because that person will find an easier way to do it. This is indeed also applicable to the students and may also be a benefit as they adapt to critical thinking and finding solutions to make it easier. Mother Teresa, the person my opponents follow, had once said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. When you're taught discipline, time management and work keeping is when you excel and exceed your expectations. You say that homework takes all of your time. Don't you revise during exams? When you do your homework, it eases your time during revision and makes it easier. Saying homework should be made optional is like saying, let your child develop by not caring about the others. Is that really an institution now? According to this ideology, tomorrow you'll come and say that make uniform optional, make drinking water optional, because what about the people who are aquaphobic? But the Teresa had also said, we fear the future because we are wasting our today. So why not start making the changes today? I urge all of us, let's come together and cultivate an equitable atmosphere for all, whereby everyone has the same opportunities to excel and everyone has access to the same privileges. Furthermore, we must foster an atmosphere of inclusivity and acceptance where everyone is well respected and valued. By working, we can ensure that everyone is provided with the same opportunity to succeed. Let's take action now. As you said, homework is long enough. You can shorten the homework or abolish it completely. Don't go for the optional way. Poor time management. So that's your problem. Why are you blaming it on us? If you cannot manage your time, you cannot blame it on the general people. With those problems, with the homework, you learn how to manage your time very efficiently. So do your homework. I would like to sign off by one more quote by Mother Teresa. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet begun. So let us start making the change today to succeed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, Mandela House. Good afternoon, Martin Luther. Mother Teresa, are you there? Marie Curie, what about you? I must commend the Marie Curies because they have shown enthusiasm They have really cheered for their representatives here, and as you can see, they are still energetic. So we've decided that we will release the results today, and I want to appreciate those who took part in the debate, the preliminaries, the semi-finals, and also those who've taken part in the finals. I want to start by recognizing the best speaker of the debate, and this one goes to none other than the creator of the quote, Adesh Dwivedi. Congratulations, Adesh. We'll appreciate you better next week on Monday during assembly. Should I start with the fourth position or the first position? So which one was the fourth house? Can we make some noise for Mandela? Which house came in the third position? Let's make some noise for Martin Luther. In the second position, the runners up. Which house is that going to be? Mother Teresa it is. Ask you to go. So I want us to make some joyous noise for the number one house, and that is none other than Marie Curie. Congratulations, Marie Curie, for a job well done. Thank you very much.